One announcement, we have set the date for our annual banquet, which will commemorate our 50th anniversary. Cornerstone has been around for 50 years now. That will be on Friday, November 14th, at Kiln to Table, at gathering at 3 o'clock, dinner to be served at 4 o'clock. And we'll be in contact with, with our regular members about that as well. Additional details to come. Okay, Zach is going to tell us about the Downey House fire, which happened, of course, 100 years ago.
Yep.
Major event in Greene County history.
Thank you very much. And guys, thank you for all coming today. Good turnout. Sometimes my turnouts are a little lower, but I'm happy with this one. I think this is one of the biggest events in Greene County history. An event that we don't, you think, how can an entire block burn down and we forget about it? Nobody knows about it. I mean, I know we have a plaque up on one of the buildings up there, but this is a forgotten thing. If you ask 100 kids at the high school right now, if something like this happened, they'd have no idea. And I think that number is, there's just not a lot of people that know about it. So I didn't go in an expert, but with just the tools that we have at this library, I was able to get everything I know. Between the newspapers that we have on reel and Green Connections and all the pictures there, I was able to gather all this information on this fire, this disaster that happened, and how amazing it was, and all the little things that worked out and didn't work out to this major event. But like Dave said, this happened nearly 100 years ago, December 23rd, 1925. So what's going on in 1925? It's not ancient periods. Calvin Coolidge, our 30th president, is in office. Pie Traynor and the Pirates just beat the Washington Senators. Scott Fitzgerald wrote The Great Gatsby. And John Scopes, his monkey trial was going on. So this is what's going on inside the United States right now. And in Greene County, it's a regular 1925 day. I mean, in December 22nd. I mean, you're getting ready for Christmas. Santa Claus is on all the billboards. The department stores are opening. People are going up and down. There's snow going around. It's a regular day. Now, right here, the picture right here, this is Citizens National Bank. It's just being built in 1924. So this is a brand new front of the building in 1924. And little does it know, this building back here is going to burn down within the next year or so. There's just an advertisement for one of the stores that is in one of these buildings. But again, just think, regular day. Everybody has their Christmas presents. Santa Claus has his presents already underneath the tree. You weren't expecting anything crazy to happen. And then this happens. December 23rd, 1925, 4 killed in Waynesburg fire, which burns heart of town. 6 others injured, loss of $1 million caused by Greene County blaze. I picked this headline because this is the Washington Reporters, and it talks about the deaths first. In the Greene County, or the Waynesburg Republican, it says, it talks about the buildings, and then the people who died are like a side note in the initial title. But I like this one because it concentrated on the people that died. Now it says 4. We know that there are 5, but the 5th one doesn't die for a couple days. And look at the date. This comes out December 23rd, 1925, the day that it burned. So this came out in the afternoon, and everybody was able to get this paper that day. They had enough for a paper that day, and enough information came out. And the amount of information they were able to gather and still get into a paper and still get it out to all the people is unbelievable. It's really crazy. Now, where are we talking? Where are we located at? Can you see my mouse? Okay. Right here is High Street, the courthouse. This is the block that burns down. This block right here, and then this building right here, where the Observer Reporter building is. That's that was a church. And then the cupola on the courthouse, and we'll go about that. So we have a fire. This whole block is just engulfed. A couple hours later, ember goes over, catches the church on fire and the cupola of the courthouse. Just blazes going like crazy. We are putting it out with a fire hose. Nothing much more than, not even a garden hose. We're carrying around buckets of water trying to put this thing out. I'm going to try to talk about the buildings a little bit. The Downey House, located on the corner of High Washington Street, completed around 1869 or 1870. This right here is the original part, what we were looking at. It was more of like a square building. And they built it on top of Bull's Head Tavern. There's you can see the picture right here. This is the location before they built this Downey House. Down here is on this corner of High Street. This is known as like the hotel corner. I can't remember where I read that. It might have been in Green Connections or something like that. But the hotel corner, because there's a hotel there, there, and there. All throughout time, it's a hotel. The person who built this was Robinson West Downey. He's not the one who built the addition. We'll see the addition in a little bit. Later owners did that. But in 1925, it is owned by Timothy John Wisecarver. Here's the entire building. Now, it is the same size as the Fort Jackson Hotel right now. My son and I, we went up there. They give dimensions in the newspaper. It's a 60 by 180 building. We went up there with a tape measure to see if they stretch it out a little bit. This building is, Fort Jackson and this building are 60 by 180. Maybe go off a couple inches. So that's the same size. You can picture that being the same size as the Fort Jackson, area-wise. But really neat, really nice picture. You see all the awnings, all the telephone lines going through. This right here is going to be an important part, catching everything on fire so quickly. This walkway going up there, these steps going up there, it's just allowing the flames to shoot up the building. But again, we'll get to that. Another good picture. Where my mouse is, you can see that right there. 1, 2, 3 buildings are completely destroyed. This building right here with the peak, that's McCory's. They cut it in half, and we'll get to that later on. Nothing to do with the fire, but this is the building where McCory's is. So one part of that block is still original since the fire. I was able to get a good picture. I was telling Dave, I'm not a photographer at all. But Luke and I went up there and we were able to get the picture. It's almost dead on. You can see down here we have a Methodist church, the whole block, and then the Fort Jackson Hotel. This is before the banks put in. So this is the late 1800s, early 1900s with this. Okay, this is a Grossman and Silveus building. We don't have a good front-on picture like we do for the Downey House. Right here is the Grossman Brothers building. It's a big building. It's tall. Okay, you have the nice sign on here, but it's also the newest of the 4 buildings that are on this block. This Grossman building right here, and right here is the Silveus building. The Grossman building is owned by, it was ran by 2 brothers. By the time of the fire, one of the brothers had died, and the wife was the part owner of it. But they were getting older and they were getting to retirement age anyway. So I don't want to say they saw it as it was an easy way out for them. The Silveus building was a 3-story building right here. 1, 2, 3. 3 stories in the front, 2 stories in the back. And the top 2 floors are housing, while the bottom floor is shops and drugstores. The courthouse. The courthouse also catches on fire. We do not lose the entire courthouse. We lose the cupola. But again, the pictures that we have on Green Connections are awesome. So you got to take it, just scroll through there and you can see everything. But we have the white courthouse. Right here is the Downey House. The cupola again is what catches on fire. This is before First Federal was put in also. 1905. 2 more pictures, good pictures of the courthouse. 1910. So that Nathaniel Green up there, that's not the one that, obviously it's not the one that's up there now, but that one ended up getting caught on fire. Okay. The next building that gets caught on fire, you go from the block where the Downey House is, you catch the cupola of the courthouse, and then it jumps over a street and catches the Presbyterian Church. This is one of two Presbyterian churches that are in town. The other Presbyterian church is up by Hook's office, where the Family Dollar is, or whatever. There's the other Presbyterian church. But this one catches on fire a couple hours later. They think, okay, we have this thing not under control, but we have it to this block, and all of a sudden, over the courthouse, you have the courthouse, over the courthouse, the church is on fire. Right here, you have a picture of the congregation in the organ. Okay, it's located on Church Street where the Observer Reporter building now stands. I think my next picture, yeah. I can't get a nice shot of it, like what this view would look like, because the courthouse has expanded out. And you have to be on the lawn of where it is. But so right there, that's what was in its place, that church. Now, I don't think this church is very old whenever it is burned down. Maybe it's not on the Caldwell Atlas, is made in 1876. This isn't in the Caldwell Atlas. I'm thinking like the 1880s, that's whenever this church is built. So this church is only about 50 years old whenever this thing lights. Okay, here again is the Y. This is the Weiscarver building. This is McCory's. Okay, look how they cut this building. Look how they just cut it down. And my biggest mystery was not with this. I was, hey, when did they tear this apart? When did they cut off the top two floors? Because they didn't just tear it down. You can see the windows right here where they have blocked in. When and why did they do it? Was it the fire? No, nothing to do with the fire. It had a little bit of water damage, but the building still stood. It stood until the mid-1930s. The only reason I knew that is because just like a half hour ago, I searched it on our computer where we can search our newspapers now, and it talked about remodeling so it has a more modern look. So they went from this beautiful building, I'm sure somebody can tell you how it was made and all that kind of stuff. That built in 1885 to this in the 1935, 1936. But I include this building in the talk because it did receive some water damage. You did not caught on fire, luckily. And how it didn't catch on fire, I have no idea. I mean, these buildings were right on top of each other. But, again, nice pictures. Now, Washington Street view of the fire. I have a lot of newspaper clips on here, and I want to read them because I think they do the best job. The fire broke out at 3:30 o'clock in the rear of the Coney Island restaurant, operated by two Greeks in a room on the first floor on Washington Street. An old stairway leads from the rear of this room to the second floor of the hotel, and the flames swept up this without anything to check them. The origin of the fire is unknown. They know for sure that it's an unknown fire, but they know it came from this restaurant. How? I have no idea. I don't know why they think it was this place or what they were cooking at 3:30 in the morning. Maybe they're getting ready for some kind of breakfast that they put on. But this is the fire that started it all. Now this is the outside of the building. Right now I'm standing on Washington Street. Trying to get the same view. You can see the bank. You can see an outline of the bank right here, First National. And then this is the building. I mean, it is a shell. I mean, they took care of everything. The bricks still were standing. It's something else that the bricks were standing. But that's at 3:30 in the morning. Here's another picture of it. T.J. Weiscarver, owner of the Downey House, stated this morning that he has no plans of rebuilding. They're talking to this person the day after. If your building just burned down, I don't think you'd have an immediate idea of what was going on, but they're still asking these questions. This property was for sale, and several prospective buyers had looked at it. So the property was already for sale.
But before the fire?
That's get into it, yeah. Property was for sale. The lot is one of the most valuable places in Waynesburg, situated on the most important corner. Has a frontage of 60 feet on Main Street and runs along Washington Street for 180 feet. A business property of some kind will be reared on the site. This isn't a half a year later. This isn't a month or two later. This is within a couple of weeks. They're already making decisions. They know what's going on here. What I like the most about this picture is, see the clock right here? There's always a presence of a clock there. Sometimes it's hanging from the building. In its later years, it's on like a pole. You can kind of see it right. You got a side view. I couldn't find it. This is whenever they're building the bank. You got a side view of the clock right there. A really neat clock. But all the pictures have some kind of clock in that area. Nothing there, nothing special, but that's something recognizable. And this is, I think, the angle. Right now I'm standing in front of like the Colonial, or the Chinese place, and we're looking at that angle. And again, you can see that clock there. And look at the frame. There is nothing. And this isn't from them tearing it down. That outside wood just stayed, or that outside wall just stood standing there. Okay, I think this is a picture from Cherry Alley looking towards Washington Street. I can't be for sure. So the alley behind it, I'm just thinking that because you have the wood structures that are caught on fire, and I think I am facing, like the courthouse would have been up in this area, and I'm looking towards High Street, like First Federal would be in that general area. But I think this is the way the picture is being taken. You can see the Downey House is just cut. There's nothing saved from it. I think. That's my guess. Okay, the remainder of the block. We saw that the Downey House is wiped out. It is possible that the Grossman Building will not be rebuilt by the present owner. The remaining front wall of this modern business block was pulled down today. The lot will be cleared of the debris and two will likely be put on the market. Again, these people already know they're selling the property. They're getting old, they're getting ready to retire. It was reported here today that John T. Silveus, owner of the, am I saying Silveus right, or Silveus?
No, Silveus.
Okay, I've been saying that the entire time, I just want to be sure. Silveus Building, which adjoined the burned Grossman Building on the west, would probably tear down his property and rebuild. This building was not damaged much by the fire, but on the day following was wrecked by the fall of the Grossman Building walls. So they went to, while they're tearing down and having construction, part of the wall of the second building, whenever they were tearing down this building, part of it fell and knocked this into this building. Now this building had terrible flame damage, I believe, in the back. But they thought, hey, we can restore, we can still keep the front. Because there's a drugstore down at the bottom. They thought, hey, not that they'd be open that day, but they didn't see a lot of damage other than water. And right here is the drugstore. They think we are in the clear, everything is fine, and then a giant wall just comes and wipes them out. Now, the way they are able to tear down these walls, they timber up. They say they put giant timbers along the wall. I'm just reading it from what the paper says. I'm not an expert in tearing down things. But they put timbers up along it, then dynamited it, and it fell that way. That's what I read, and I'm going by what the paper tells me. That's where my history is coming from. But so they put the timbers on it, and they dynamited it, and just one happened to go the wrong direction and wiped out that third building. Okay, General Green Falls. On the opposite side of the Washington Street from the Downey House is the courthouse and jail. Carried by high wind, and when the gleaming embers leaped across the street and fired the cupola, but the blaze there was extinguished before the main building was caught fire. So this cupola up here is caught on fire, and Nathaniel Green comes toppling down. Here's an account of him falling down. Edward Van Cleve, son of Mr. and Mrs. Samuel Van Cleve of Southeast Street, and William Cree, son of Mr. and Mrs. William Cree, narrowly escaped being struck by the burning statue of General Green, which fell when the young men were on the lower roof of the courthouse directing a stream of water on the burning cupola. So he's standing down here trying to spray off Nathaniel Green. Nathaniel Green falls and it almost gets him. There's a bunch of stories on that from the paper. One story I thought was kind of funny out of the whole thing. People were worried about the pigeons. The pigeons have been living there for years and years and years, and everybody recognized the pigeons, and they all went like, well, where are the pigeons going to stay? Because you took all their houses. The people were, they have 2 or 3 paragraphs on this, and then the next week asking, what are the pigeons going to do? A lot of people were worried about that. Okay, loss of a church. These are the two from the 2 different papers. About 7 o'clock a.m. So the fire starts at 3:30 in the morning. At 7, not that they think they have things under control, but they're not looking. You know, they don't think that. And all of a sudden, the church is in blaze. When the fire was under control, smoke was noticed coming from the Presbyterian Church on Church Street. And in a very short time, the interior of the building was in flames, completely destroying it. That was in the Washington paper. The Waynesburg paper said, blazing embers from the Downey House were carried by the high wind clear over the courthouse to Church Street, which runs at the right angle with Main Street, and set fire to the First Presbyterian Church, a block from the Downey House. This building containing a flute pipe organ was destroyed. The picture, here's the flute pipe organ that was destroyed in that building. I have that on there a second time just so you can see the flue. Now, this is another kind of like irony or something. A new church is on the way. The First Presbyterian congregation, whose home was destroyed, will not make any attempt to rebuild the church on the property. Only the outside walls remain, so completely gutted. Until the new church on Rich Hill and College Street is complete. They're already building this church. This church is nearly done. Okay, until it's complete, the parish house on High Street, the former Cumberland Presbyterian Church property, will be occupied for all services. It will be a spring before the new church is entirely ready. The site of the burned church is for sale. It's already for sale. Now this again, Cook's office, the house, is right over here. This is Family Dollar, whatever family store it is.
That church was almost built before the other church caught on fire?
It was being built.
Yeah.
It was being built whenever the church was caught on fire. Now this church was empty because there were 2 Presbyterian churches that kind of came here. This church at the time was empty, and they thought, hey, we can go have our services there while we are finishing our new church. This church is torn down in 1941. Okay, neighborly help. For a time, it looked as though the whole business section of the town might be destroyed. But most efficient help was given by the fire departments of East Washington, Charleroi, Fredericktown, Carmichael's, Jefferson, Buckeye Coal Company, Nemacolin, Brownsville, Masontown, Rice's Landing, and Bentleyville, all responding to our call for aid with gratifying promptness. So I kind of mentioned it shortly. We didn't have a great fire department. We had people that were volunteer to help out whenever there were fires, but we didn't have a volunteer fire department. 2 different things. It'd be like me saying, hey, if there's a fire, I'll go up there. I promise I'll be there to help you. But they didn't have any kind of organization. So they go out and they call everybody, all the people that do have a little bit more than what we do, or anybody that can help. They come in with their trucks and they are able to put it out. If it wasn't for those companies, we wouldn't have, I can't imagine what would be burned down. The courthouse would be gone. The entire block where the Downey House in Fort Jackson would be down. The entire block where the church would be down. It'd be something else. So all these places came to help. There was a quote. I want to read it. Okay, I'll get back to it. The truck from Washington left at 4:30 a.m. This is from the Washington paper. They drove on the new highway that was supposed to open up on Christmas Day. So they're just redoing Route 19 from Washington to Waynesburg. And they're getting ready to have like the grand opening on Christmas Day. Well, this is a good enough reason to start the flow down 19. They said that they could see the flames. They said that they could see Waynesburg from the fire as far away as Laboratory Hill. So up in Laboratory, they said they could see it starting to glow in Waynesburg. So who knows what they thought they were getting into. Now the article, I printed out an article for you guys on the back side of that paper. Again, it's hard to read. This is from 1963. And it's somebody from the fire department might be able to help me out with this one. It's a coat hanger or coat rack made from the stuff from the Downey House. You guys still have that over there?
It's still there.
Yeah. Well, that's a neat little thing. And this is said 1963. They're remembering it. This was donated before that. There's a little bit more information on what family donated it, but it's a pretty neat thing. That wood was salvaged from the building. But if we didn't have those other fire departments coming around, we'd be in big trouble. Now, the buildings were sad and all that kind of stuff in the history, but 5 people did die. On December 23rd, the day of the fire, we had 4 people die. Harvey Call, William Finch, Thurman Long, and Joseph Rifenberg. On December 28th, 5 days later, the 5th victim finally died, and that's Victor Silveus. He's laying in hospital. There were 2 people that they thought might die. One of them did die, the other one did not. We had a lot of injured, and they were keeping you up to date. Now the Waynesburg paper is every week, so by the 2nd paper we know that Silveus has died. But these were the other people that were injured. When it first came out, the Silveus was still he was still on life support, if you'd call it that. You have Luther Renner, Clovis Wright, Odell Cooper, Harry Wilbur, and then you had a lady that slipped on the ice while she was watching and broke her leg, or broke her arm, Miss Edna Thomas. She was older at the time, but just a casualty of the thing. It's cold out, it's December, it's going to be ice. Now what happened, why were these men killed, how were they killed? They weren't killed by the fire, they were killed by the falling of the building. The men killed and injured were among a number of volunteer firefighters, who had taken 2 strings of hoses to the rear section of the roof of the Silveus building. Right here, I have a Google map version of what the building would look like. This is modern day, obviously. But this would be the, right here would be the Downey House. This would be, Grossman Building, thank you. Grossman Building, and this would be the Silveus Building. This is McCory's right here. They're standing, I think this building would have stretched out a little farther. They're standing on this level, and I'm trying to figure it out from the newspapers. Standing on here, spraying the water, trying to spray this building, because right now they don't think this building is going to go. They know there's some damage in it, but they don't think it's going to go. Suddenly, the west wall of the Grossman Building, right here, the west wall, collapsed. Several men in danger zone leaped to the side and managed to escape, but 9 men were caught under the falling brick and stone without the slightest chance of escape. The other men left on the roof started the rescue work at once, but it was several hours before everyone had been accounted for, and it was feared for some time that others might still be buried under the debris. It's craziness going on. They have no idea who's in there. If there's anybody still, like residents still in the building, they don't know what's taking place in there. Maybe somebody from work wanted to go in and get whatever materials they could before the fire got to. They don't know who's in there. So it takes some time to really determine how many people are underneath the debris. But we ended up with 5 who do die. This is the building again. This block right here. The guys would be standing on top of this building, spraying in the back of it, spraying whenever this roof fell into this building and crushed it. Now you notice the building, that's still the Silveus building today. It has a 1926 at the top. I think that's the only one that's labeled out of it too. Now you can find these guys. 2 of the guys are buried in Oakmont. I like the cemetery, so I wanted to tie it in there. 2 of the guys are buried in Oakmont. 3 of them are in Greenmount. I'm able to find 3 of the 5. I can't find the other 2 guys. So we went up there the other day and we found this Joseph Rifenberg's brother and sister-in-law. And they're the only ones that I could find inside the cemetery. And I'm guessing he's buried next to them, but I didn't see a headstone. And the Finch, I looked for we found Finch's 2 spots of him in Oakmont, and I couldn't find him. Doesn't mean he's not there. It's easy to miss a stone. But you still can't go see these things. And it looks like the guys have already put in like a memory medallion on these two. There might be one on here. I'm not sure, because this is not Green Mountain. They might not have it there either. So all 5 of them were buried in our 2 cemeteries on top of the hill. Immediate action. Formation of the Waynesburg Volunteer Fire Company. First meeting, March 4th, 1926. There was public outrage that we did not have a fire department. People were very upset. I want to read you guys the quote. Somebody had an opinion column the very next week. The present equipment is archaic and no more effective than the first firefighting apparatus invented and constructed by Benjamin Franklin nearly 200 years ago. He is very, very upset about this, about our state of a fire department. He said it's embarrassing. We have a big time town and all these other places are up to date. Why aren't we there? Again, we have men who are volunteering to be firefighters, but there's no volunteer firefighting department. The people did come out when they were called.
Was there any equipment?
Yeah, I mean, they had like a wagon and buckets. I mean, nothing.
A few hoses, that type of thing?
Yeah.
Actually, they did have an old truck that would transport stuff, but it wasn't really good. Plus, they had 2 hose carts that were probably because they were all over 70 years old at the time.
Yeah.
They weren't effective to use.
I mean, buckets and hoses.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were dealing with, and so they had a system going, but they weren't formal. Then in 26 they bought their fire truck. LaFrance.
Was there fire hydrants back then?
Yeah, I think so. I think they were fired, but I don't know how they worked. I don't know anything. I don't know where they got their water from, or it was on top of the hill still. Okay, but whenever they bought it in 26, I'm going off of your guys' website. $12,500. That's $231,000 today. That's not much for a fire. They cost like $2 million today. I was trying to read about a new fire truck can be millions of dollars. So I mean, that's not a fancy. That's still better than what we had. And I'm guessing that's what the other fire departments came with. And that's what was kind of embarrassing. We have this nice town, but then a smaller town like Jefferson can pull up with a thing, and all these other places. We should have this. More immediate action. Now, this is my cynical part, looking for conspiracy theories. By January 21st, 1926, a hotel had been planned and named. So these people were buried for 30 days, and we already got the planned hotel. We know how many stories. We have a name for it. You know how long it takes people to get names for things? Okay, Fort Jackson Hotel. And I'm fine with that name. They didn't name it after anybody. But 11 individuals went together and had this property bought by January 21st. I'm sure you can look up the deeds and say when officially it was purchased. But the land was swooped up and taken very quickly. And they were hoping, okay, this plan, this paper article is January 21st. They were hoping by Christmas that year they were going to be open. Very optimistic, and they weren't. Okay, they formally opened in July 25th, 1927, and I think they were running things in April. But for them to, within a year, they're going to have a whole new building. And it's a big building. It's not, they're not doing little dinky buildings. It's a big, massive, impressive building. They were going to have retail on the bottom floor and 70 hotel rooms above. The old one, the Downey House, at the time of the fires, it had 50 rooms with 25 occupants in them. This was going to be a little bit bigger, a little bit better. 72 hotel rooms. And you come think after this building comes in, the Downey House comes in right at the tail, like after the Civil War. The men come back, they have a new building. This is like at the end of World War I. People are still coming back, bodies are still coming back. All right, do you need a new building? Do you need something a little more impressive to keep up, to show how important you are? Another postcard. I should have been. I've been in the lobby of Fort Jackson Hotel just to walk in it. I mean, it doesn't look like this anymore. Things are boarded. I mean, there are offices and stuff like that now. But super impressive. and look how they're advertising this thing. They want to make sure everybody knows it is strictly fireproof with an exclamation point.
Still standing.
It's still, yeah, they haven't burned down yet. So, I mean, yeah, it's strictly fireproof. They want people to come to their hotel. Today, what do we have here? We still have buildings. Now they just redid the Silveus building up on top. I'm not exactly sure what is going on in there, but they just redid that. McCory's is there. They're dancing in it. And you have a whole bunch of other little businesses around. We do have one memorial. The memorial isn't in the right spot. It needs to be moved over a block. But it is right here on what would be the Downey House. If you name the fire after the building, I guess you have to put the memorial on it. But right here where my mouse is clicking, that is the memorial. During this disastrous fire, which swept this block on the morning of December 23rd, 1925, the following men gave their lives. And then it lists the 5 guys. All right, so listen, I don't want to act like this is a terrible tragedy and stuff like that, but a lot of things work out where I'm embarrassed sometimes I say it. Sometimes things, everybody's ready to move out. The church was ready to move out. The people were ready to retire in the building, the Grossman Building. Everybody got out safely. They knew how much money. I mean, the next day they knew how much money they lost. Every single business. I mean, inside the paper for that December 23rd issue that came out that night, they knew how much the barber lost, how much this company lost, how much this department lost, how much the furniture was that they lost. And maybe they had this accounted for in case a fire did happen. They could just throw out the numbers very quickly. But just a little fishing. Hopefully it was a big accident because a terrible thing came because of it. But talk about a crazy event that's completely forgotten. No one knows about it. And if that happened today, I mean, I can't imagine the service that'd be going around. That's my last of my slides. Any questions about anything? I know as much as what our newspapers provide and what our pictures provide. We have so many sources. It's great. Yeah.
Did the newspapers get into insurance information at all? Were these properties
No, I don't know.
insured?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm still finding stuff today. I think it just knows how much money they lost. They all knew how much money they lost that day. That December 23rd issue told me this business lost $5,000, this lost $2,000, this lost this much. I mean, I know 9/11 was a bigger.
Well, you would think they had to be insured.
I'm guessing. I'm saying, hey, so if my building burns down, how much am I going to lose? So it could be that simple. Trying to think of that. I have fun reading about this stuff. There's a bunch of rabbit holes that come out of this. I like looking for the people, finding out about them. One of the guys who died had 3 children, or two children and a wife. One of the other, they had kids. So that was kind of sad. But I'd like to go down there and see who their kids were and if they have any memorabilia or anything, any stories passed down. But any other questions?
I've seen you had that Clovis Wright on that. Was he living here in Waynesburg and lived here for a number of years?
Yeah, he used to be our custodian at First United Methodist Church for a long time.
He was also fire chief too.
Yes, yes.
Clovis was the shop foreman down at Fox Ford for years. I used to work for him. And his boy, PJ, was back in town a couple weeks ago and talked to us. And he said that he was on the roof when it collapsed and he fell, but it didn't, obviously it didn't kill him. But he was laid up for quite a while, and he still had the burn scars on his back and arms from falling. And Luther Renner worked for the gas company for years in town.
He lived out permanently. He was my neighbor. I heard a few stories from him.
But yeah, they're all pretty young. Like when you picture young guys going out for the volunteer fire department. But, good coverage by the newspaper. Both newspapers were able to get a lot. And the pictures we have, we don't have a lot of them being caught on fire, but the pictures that we do have are great of the building, showing the shell of it and how devastating. You look at the shell, and that's like, these are the most devastating pictures. I mean, you see a shell, it's a wall. It looks like an aqueduct, you know, coming from Rome or something like that, coming down here.
That's what they call it.
With that. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much. Hey, and if any of you guys want to have it put on your own talk next year, I'm looking for people that would be willing to talk.